Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping right in, looking at a really fascinating success story, the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network, or CSAYN.
Right.
We're marking its 10-year anniversary, roughly 2015 to 2025, and really digging into its impact, specifically in India.
Yeah, it's quite a story.
And our source material here, it comes mainly from a speech by Dr. Sarada congratulating Divine and the CSA Wine team. It also notes this really productive 6-year partnership between CSA Wine and Dr. Sarada's own institution, which is a major center of excellence.
A 6-year run that seems to have punched way above its weight.
Exactly. You hear Agriculture Youth Network, maybe you think, I don't know, local gardening clubs. But this is different. We're talking patents, UN affiliations, a real, knowledge revolution for rural youth. It feels much more strategic than just soil.
Definitely more than just soil. Okay, let's unpack it.
So let's start with the payoff for the institution itself. What did they get out of this link with CSAYN?
Well, the institutional velocity is what jumps out first. 6 years isn't that long in academic terms.
Yeah.
But the results they generated, the hard metrics, usually that takes, well, decades. It points to a super efficient way of turning grassroots issues into actual applied science.
And Dr. Sarada mentioned concrete things, right? Like achievements related to the UN Food Systems Summit, UNFSS.
Yes, the UNFSS framework,
Yeah.
and also advances in soil research programs. Those are sort of expected gains from a partnership like this.
Okay.
But the speed seems to be the key here. It was faster than usual.
And then there was something really unexpected, wasn't there? The proof of, I guess, the scientific rigor.
Ah, yes, the intellectual property. This is where it gets really interesting. The source celebrates getting more than 10 patents
Wow. Okay, more than 10?
in just 6 years
Yeah.
from a center of excellence working with a youth network. That's a massive institutional win.
10 patents. I mean, in sustainable agriculture, that feels like a huge number. Research often moves slowly there. Getting it to market is complex.
He really is.
So how does a youth network help generate IP that fast?
Yeah, that's the core question, isn't it? Patents need novelty? Sure. But they also need really solid wide-scale testing, data validation.
Stuff that takes time and resources.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A traditional institution might be limited in its reach. But a network like CSAYN, being distributed, having engaged youth on the ground, it basically acts as an amplifier for the institution.
Okay, I see.
They create this environment for, rapid data collection from all sorts of different places, instant field testing, quick feedback. It just shortens that whole innovation cycle dramatically.
So the youth aren't just learning, they're actively generating the data that fuels the patents.
Precisely. They become this sort of decentralized R&D arm. It's quite clever.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So they're boosting the R&D capacity, and the patents were just one part of the institutional benefit.
Right. The source also points to a status achievement, something that took this partnership beyond just national success, global recognition, really.
You mean the UN connection?
Yes. The institution became the first and only one in India to join the UN Nature Positive Alliance University.
First and only in India.
And they directly credit the partnership with Divine and CSAYN for that success.
What does being part of that alliance actually mean practically?
Well, it's not just a fancy title. It integrates them into the global framework that's guiding research towards real sustainability outcomes.
Okay.
For an institution, especially in a developing nation, that means instant global credibility. It means access to potentially more funding, collaborative projects. And it validates their whole approach, including working with CSAN, showing it meets, world-leading standards.
So it shifts the narrative. It's not just local farming stuff anymore. It's international scientific leadership.
Absolutely. It proves their model works on a global scale.
Okay, that's a huge institutional impact. But let's pivot back to CSAYN itself, the source of these innovations. The source mentions a specific concept they developed, the SDG Pavilion. This sounds conceptual.
It does, but it seems very practical in its design. Dr. Sarada described it as an innovative platform that reflects all the Sustainable Development Goal concepts under one single umbrella.
All 17 SDGs. That's ambitious. They're pretty complex and sprawling.
That's exactly the point, I think. The complexity is often the barrier, right? Especially for people on the ground, in rural areas.
Yeah, trying to connect Goal 2, Zero Hunger, with Goal 13, climate action. It's not always obvious.
Right. So the pavilion aims to make those connections visible, tangible. The source says it includes various saves, leads, explanations about the ideology, themes, and future actions.
Okay, so it's like a toolkit.
Oh,
Or maybe
God.
a learning environment.
Something like that. It translates dense UN policy into, practical steps. It moves beyond abstract goals to show how soil health, climate resilience, economic factors, how they all fit together.
So a farmer doesn't need a PhD in policy to see how their crop choice fits into the bigger picture, the SDG 2030 agenda.
That seems to be the core idea. It's about fulfilling the agenda through clarity. The real innovation here is pedagogical. It's about teaching and enabling understanding.
Making global policy into a local curriculum.
You could put it that way, yes.
And that focus on the user, on the rural youth, that leads us to the other main pillars of CSA1's work mentioned.
Youth engagement and really promoting scientific empowerment.
Yeah, Dr. Serrata had a strong statement about that, a core philosophy almost, saying it's very difficult and impossible to fight the climate change and other natural disasters without scientific knowledge.
That's a powerful claim. It basically says scientific literacy isn't a nice to have, it's essential for survival, for resilience.
It really raises the stakes.
And that belief drives their solution. The source is quite firm. This says it's high time all rural youth became scientifically sound.
Not just basic science, though.
No, not at all. This isn't about handing out pamphlets. It's about transmitting advanced tech, specifically leveraging AI and climate-smart technology. That's stated as CSAYN's core motto.
AI and climate smart tech. For our audience, what does that actually look like on the ground? We talking weather apps?
It goes way beyond simple weather tracking. Think more about predictive modeling tools that the Youth Network uses.
Okay.
Maybe AI analyzing soil sensor data to give really specific hyperlocal fertilizer advice, like right now.
Real-time adjustments.
Or using drone images, maybe satellite data, with machine learning to predict the absolute best time to plant or harvest based on tiny, localized climate shifts.
Oh.
It's taking high-level science stuff usually stuck in labs and getting it right down to the farm level, democratizing it, basically.
So every decision about crops can be optimized against, unpredictable weather.
Exactly. Optimized for sustainability and resilience.
And that level of precision available to rural youth, that enables the outcome, helping them develop sustainable, climate-resilient crops more easily. It changes their whole capacity.
It does. And if you zoom out, look at the bigger picture. That's where you see the force of what Divine started. The source talks about it starting as a movement, but becoming a revolution across the globe.
Revolution is a strong word, gets thrown around a lot.
It does, but here you look at the evidence. The 10-plus patents, the UN alliance status, the actual use of AI in places that are usually, frankly, underserved by high science. The claim feels more grounded. It's not just talk. It's a tangible shift in capability.
A shift based on getting specialized knowledge out there quickly.
Precisely. It shows the impact you can have when you take cutting-edge, validated research, the kind that gets patented, and push it out fast through a network like this, focusing on youth in rural areas.
It kind of proves the bottleneck isn't always the technology itself.
But the transfer, the speed and the mechanism of getting that knowledge to where it's needed.
Which wraps back to Dr. Serrata's conclusion.
Yeah, the call to action. The global scientific community has this important responsibility.
To transmit this advanced knowledge to rural youth.
And specifically through networks like CSAY. It's a direct message to researchers, to institutions everywhere.
So looking back at this deep dive, it really does lay out a powerful model.
It does. It shows high-level science doesn't have to be confined to ivory towers. By targeting rural youth, providing institutional support that leads to things like patents and UN status, CSA demonstrates a clear path to hitting major goals, like the 2030 SDGs.
Yeah.
It really elevates climate-smart agriculture. It's not just a local issue. It becomes a global scientific effort.
For me, the things that really stand out are that incredible efficiency, 10-plus patents in 6 years, wow, and achieving that unique UN status. And also that SDG pavilion idea, just simplifying complexity for real-world action. The level of impact is, well, it's genuinely impressive.
It really is.
And it leaves you with a pretty big thought, doesn't it? If this kind of focused, scientifically driven effort targeting rural youth can generate these kinds of rapid, measurable results patents, a global movement, what other huge global challenges could we tackle? Health, energy, infrastructure. Maybe the key is just getting that specialized knowledge out there faster through similar dedicated networks.
That's definitely something worth considering.
Something for you, the listener, to think about as you look at other global development projects. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the CSAYN revolution.